Hey everyone, Mike here today with hopefully a quick and short video on Season 1 Search and Recover, which is the first DLC pack in the Year 1 DLC bundle for SnowRunner. So we'll go over the new vehicles in just a bit. We'll take a look at the two maps in the Kola Peninsula, which is the Russian region this DLC is based in. And yeah, we'll talk a bit about the DLC overall and some of the missions and stuff. I beat it a couple weeks ago. I still remember most of it, but yeah, it's been a while. So I am playing this with the real life mod. I've done a video on that mod specifically as well. So if you want to see all the differences and stuff, you can check that out. But here are the three vehicles. This is the Ford F750. Again, ignore the first engine option. That's the real life mod there kicking in. But yeah, I got the engine upgrade that you have to unlock while browsing this map. I've got the tuned custom suspension also that I found on this map. So it allows you to use some pretty tall tires. And again, real life mod allows you to use different tire combos that the stock game does not. But beyond that, I think this is one of the better scout vehicles because you can add on the custom pickup bed. You can add on the roof rack. So you got a lot of, spare parts, fuel capacity, spare wheels as well. And yeah, it makes it a pretty versatile scout vehicle, which is fun. So you can also decide to mount a crane instead. And you can also go ahead and do a sideboard if you want to have two cargo slots. Otherwise, you could put a single flatbed, and you can also combine that with a crane. So you've got a couple options. It makes this a pretty versatile vehicle, like I said, with the all-wheel drive upgrade. Out of the box, it's not capable of all-wheel drive, but you do find that pretty quickly. The other two trucks, I guess this is Actaeon. Let's go with that, and the Warthog. Both of these are very similar vehicles. They're short wheelbases, and they've got similar equipment, similar capacities, but not quite the same. Right? This one's a little bit weaker in terms of maximum power output. Transmissions, more or less the same. I've got the active suspension. I haven't found the raised one yet. But even with active, I can't put on 47-inch tires. So that is one difference. And then the frame add-ons are not 100% the same, right? So you could put a full van body if you want. Or these have a new special maintainer frame add-on. Same with the fuel carrier. There's a smaller fuel carrier. There's also a single slot sideboard trailer for these trucks. And then there's other different options here. I'd have to undo my mud flaps. I believe these might actually be the correct ones. And this might be the DLC one. I don't quite remember. But they all do the same thing. And you can also put supplies on the roof as well, if you need them. So we'll probably drive this one for a little bit. And then this is the slightly bigger one, right? It's got a double cab as well. It's got a much more powerful engine. Even with the active suspension, I can run the 47s. I don't have to go down to 43. But the trade-off is a couple less options for the bed, because the cab is bigger. I believe the wheelbases are pretty much the same between both of these. So yeah, they're neat little vehicles. They're fun to play with. They can be handy for some missions as well, but I wouldn't say they're essential either. So yeah, here's the map. It's pretty empty because I've pretty much done everything already. But you can see there's a bit of a ring road here, a little bit of off-road, ice crossing back into pavement. You eventually repair that bridge. This bridge, you repair that bridge and not this one. So you gotta kind of take a way around there. A little bit of tough terrain there, and yeah, you can get to the other side. So if you're bringing big trucks around, you're just going around the edge of the map, which takes forever. So usually what I would do is hop on the ice here and kind of make your way around. So there are a couple areas. I believe this is one area, and here maybe. There are a couple areas where you can cross between the middle there, but most of this area is gonna break if you got a heavy truck. However, you can kind of cheese it by going over the broken up ice, which I'll kind of show off. Yeah, I think it's a decent DLC. It's like it's not super challenging. It's a bit long, but the map is nice. The two maps are nice. The vehicles are pretty okay. You know, they're different. But at the end of the day, I don't know. The 750, the Ford F750 is actually not too bad. These smaller trucks, not so much. Yeah, they're kind of narrow. Yes, they're small. They're really small. They're kind of narrow though, which is not great. If you don't have the active suspension to slam them down to the ground, they're a little wobbly. Oof. Yeah, we're going a little rough here. I'm gonna take a bit more time. Anyways, we want to keep this video short. I will point out that I'm testing new recording stuff, so we'll see how it goes. And by new recording stuff, I mean completely different than how I used to do it. And part of that is I now have faster internet, so I can afford to upload this in higher quality. And so I will try and make it higher quality without putting too much effort, I guess. Yep. Yeah, you gotta be careful for the broken up ice. You can drive over it, but not with any speed. So as we approach the middle here, I'll say that, yeah, the way you could tell, it looks like it's kind of wet. There's like a ring. Like you can see on top of the truck where the three lights are. You can kind of see there's a little bit there, and then it moves up here, and then moves up, or it moves, let's see, yeah, it's about there. So you could drive over it with a Scout. You're not necessarily going to sink. This being a small truck, it also doesn't break through it. But the other trick you can do is just use the broken up ice there to kind of drive over it instead. Yeah, there are dedicated spots to actually cross over. But yeah, if you're not careful, well, this is what happens. And this truck actually isn't too bad. Oh, as I say that, I think this truck is gonna actually get stuck. Yeah, it's not like you're gonna go to the bottom of the ocean. That's kind of the point I was gonna get at. So, depending on the vehicle, especially if you have a couple of vehicles, you can still pull yourself out, but you know, that's what you need to know. So let's go over to the other map real quick. So the first map, nothing too crazy. This map though, this is the one that's tough. So one of the things you'll be doing is taking items from the first map and then bringing them up north sometimes on this map. And the problem is this is like really mountainous in this area. So you got a couple options. If you want to cross to the northern side of this map, you know, you got to do an off-road trip down here. And then you've got this really, really narrow crossing. You can potentially break through this ice. There is a path to take, but you know, it's tough with big trucks and trailers to make it through the path. And again, a tiny crossing. And in a kind of a tough area to climb up on the hill. You can also do this path, which is not too bad. But the problem is this area of the mountain really sucks. It falls away from you. So I've flipped a lot of trucks there. And of course, that's the path you have to take if you want to take the long way around. And this area is really deep snow, so you're taking a lot of time to cross. So this map is pretty tough. It's not super fun. And I could see why people were complaining about this DLC. This map is a little bit tougher than anything you've played so far, really. Having said that, I don't think it's too bad. If you come into this DLC having beaten the base game and having, you know, a lot of fully upgraded trucks and money to buy upgrades as you need them, I don't think this DLC is that difficult. It's definitely more difficult than everything else, but it kind of assumes you have the equipment to deal with it. So I guess that's kind of the trade-off, right? Of like, well, yeah, it's hard because you should have everything to be able to deal with the extra difficulty. I think the other thing too worth mentioning is that, you know, the base game, I'd say each region was about 50 hours each. So I had about 50 hours, you know, Michigan, which is the first region, and another 50 in Alaska, which was the second, and then Taimyr, which is the Russian area in the third region. Each of those were about 50 hours. This is about 50 hours as well, and you've gone from 4 maps of content down to 2. So, yeah, there's a lot of back and forth, more than what the base game has, mostly because they're trying to maximize, you know, they're trying to give you the same amount of playtime, but without necessarily having to make big maps. But yeah, beyond that, I don't know, some of the new upgrade bits were interesting. The F750, like I said, is probably the more useful truck out of the 2 added. They added other upgrades, so they added all-wheel drive for both the GMC MH 9500 and the Western Star 6900 twin steer. The Western Star is the big 4-slot truck. Adding all-wheel drive to that makes a huge difference. That's one truck that can definitely make use of it. So that's also a nice thing about this DLC. And yeah, beyond that, it's not too bad. Especially once you get into some of the later ones. Some of those can be a little bit tedious. It's because those maps are even more challenging. But this one, for the most part, ain't too bad. So, yeah, we're about to hit 15 minutes, so I think we'll keep it short. We'll end it there. And, yeah. Depending how this recording goes, I may or may not change stuff for the other 2 maps that I've done so far. I haven't finished all 4 of the DLC packs yet. I have almost finished the 3rd one. I finished the first 2. So we'll probably do a video for each of them. And I think that's about it. Yeah, I'm just looking over at my notes. I don't have anything else to add. So, that said, hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week with probably another SnowRunner video.